What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today to unpack potentially what Black Knight's unique could potentially be. At the time of recording, we do not have this information today yet, but we do have a couple of things confirmed in respect to the other members of the Out of Time team, and as well, kind of the trend we've been seeing with other new characters and teams and what likely will follow. So thankfully, with the way they do uniques in this game, and guys, keep in mind too, obviously everything is subject to change, but typically they follow a specific pattern with how uniques are grouped in the game, right? Whether it's a group of characters or a specific team, typically they try to group them based on their origin, or maybe there's some historical reasons for the reason they're actually included in there. But for that reason, I think we can at least nail it down to at least the top 3 uniques potentially for Black Knight, especially with him being a meta changer. He's going to be the direct counter to Super Skrull in Arena, War, even probably Crucible. Just having that kind of value and knowing what resource to be banking on. And again, this is just a speculation video anyways, but it's fun to kind of make these deductions, and then when the information comes to light, it'll be cool to see if we're bang on with how we hypothesize this. So obviously that information is going to be released later on, but let's have fun with it, guys. First and foremost, I just want to point out kind of what I mean by my logic here in terms of the reasoning and assumptions, right? I think Vibranium's a really nice example to utilize because you can see a very specific and niche kind of group is included in there. And mind you, there are some one-offs here and there, again, based on how Marvel Strike Force and Scopely does their grouping and classification. But the bulk of the Vibranium characters are typically Wakandans, plus some shape, way, or form relating to metal-based characters, right? So I think the only exception here is really Kingpin, and then Quake. Otherwise, everyone else kind of makes sense. So I think we can use this kind of theory, this kind of understanding of their lore, and as well as their history, to understand what potentially Black Knight could be. Having said that, I also want to rule out a couple of big uniques that I'm sure many folks have on the back of their mind. Obviously, Black Knight's not going to be an Alien Sports character. We've already seen kind of that back and forth debacle, going through with the Hive Mind team, the fact that Super Skrull is part of this. So there's no way he's going to be an Alien Sport character. We also got confirmation that Starbrand is also part of Astral Energy, so he's not going to be included here. It also conflicts with characters like Icarus, Apocalypse. We have Psylocke being part of the Legendary Horseman team. We have Sunspot, Sunfire. So, I mean, there's so much going on already with Astral Energy. We can right away rule those ones out. I think another one potentially we can also rule out, guys, and, agree to disagree. But I think OSMIUM is there's just too much heat on this right now. Yes, this is some of the best characters in the game. We got Infinity War, Iron Man, Morgan Le Fay, Nightcrawler, Nova, Ronin, Val, Gambit. Like, every single character here in this list matters, and for that reason, I just can't see them putting Black Knight in here. It's gonna make it so much more difficult, and then we're gonna have Alien Spores in the store 2.0 again, where they're gonna be giving us an opportunity to farm this. I think they're gonna try to avoid that. So that rules out some really good uniques here as well, right? That we don't have to worry about, which is kind of nice. We can also rule out ones that are very obviously not going to be categorized here for based on how his Black Knight's kind of history is, and him being a skill character and being from the medieval era. Instances like the gamma radiation, it doesn't really make sense to group him into this category because the core of it is gamma, right? And you can see, obviously Iron Man is kind of the exception with Rescue, with the gamma radiation coming from their kits. Overall, you can see a consistent pattern with these characters. So that's why we can make those kind of deductions here in terms of ruling out what it can and can't be. So there are some interesting thoughts because Black Knight is a skill-based character, but he relies a lot on what he's equipped with, right? So obviously his armor, and then having the ebony blade, both of them being weapons that he's utilizing is kind of how his power is driven, right? So we have to think about maybe the metals that are involved, in my honest opinion. So there's a few metals after ruling out all the ones I've discussed, and I think we can kind of pinpoint. So I think Adamantium would definitely be interesting. If you recall Adamantium, it's typically a very strong metal in the game, and it could be tied back, obviously, to the weapons and the armor that Black Knight uses, but there's not really specific tie-outs from Adamantium to Black Knight in the comic lore. So I'm not too heavy on this one, in my honest opinion, but it's possible. obviously there's a way you can obviously shift it up and reshape in terms of how he fits in, but it's possible Adamantium can fit in. As you can see, there's not that many crazy characters in there. By adding him in, you need to be aware of Adamantium going forward in the future, especially with Ultron being part of this mix. It could definitely make things a little bit interesting. I think Carbonadium, I think that's how you pronounce it, Carbonadium. Okay, this one's not working right now. Let's try Promethium here. Okay, so yeah, this one I think would be interesting because you can see here Juggernaut's included. There's another Cyborg there as well, and they have kind of a similar based armor. So it's possible this one could actually be fitting in. And as you can see, there's not really any meta characters with the exception of Miss Marvel Hardlight. We have a couple of characters from the Horseman with Scarlet Witch, and as well as Doctor Strange Heartless, but they're no longer in the top 5 teams in the game, right? So this one definitely could see potential. So I want to slot that in. Let's try Carbonadium again. Okay, perfect. Now it works again. So this one is interesting as well because we do see that there's a couple of tanks here and there, as you can see with Crossbones. We have, you know, possibilities with Falcon's armor there, and especially I think a big one is Omega Red being here, and you can see there's a lot of kind of that armor based that you can see from the outerwear, right? So definitely I think this one is a possibility as well. The other metals in the game, we're working our way top down. Titanium, I think, is definitely a possibility as well. If you look at a tank, Samurai, Silver Samurai, Colossus are here. Titanium could very well be a strong suitor for this. And like I said earlier, you can see that there's typically a pattern, and there are some pretty tanky characters in Titanium. So I'm actually leaning more towards Titanium now after reviewing both the Promethium and Carbonadium. So obviously definitely strong considerations there, and I think there was like one more if you go down. I don't think it's gonna be Hammer Tech. Hammer Tech, typically you see offensively based characters here. Black Knight's more of a tanking nature, right? Although he reflects the damage back. Hammer Tech will also be interesting because this is confirmed to be Red Goblin's unique. So I feel like they're not going to be doing 2 back-to-back in a row like that. But anyways, there's a lot of characters obviously that aren't really utilized in the meta here, so it's definitely a possibility. Having said that, I also think Gravitonium could be a consideration here as well. As you can see, having a tanky character like Hulkbuster here previously. But other than that, there's not really. I guess Korg is also tanky as well in nature, so this one could definitely be a strong suitor. So if I had to rule out the top 3, I think Gravitonium stands a good chance. There's a possibility I'm leaning towards Titanium Alloy, and as well either Carbonadium or Promethium, just because of their nature. But if you look at how many we've accumulated, right, it's definitely going to be one of those ones in my honest opinion, based on how much we've amounted, and there isn't really relevant characters being a strong suitor in those different components of unique. So anyways, just my 2 cents, guys. Again, nothing for certain just yet. There's obviously some other uniques here, but I just don't think they fit in as much as well as the other ones we've seen here. And obviously I could be wrong, but this is what we're going to be guessing right now, guys. Let's see how this turns out. I'm very interested to see if this is going to shake out the way we expect it to be, but let's see how much we know about our lore. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in comments below. Fingers crossed it's not OSMIUM. You know, we've gone down that road already. Hopefully we're avoiding that trap again. So do appreciate your guys' time as always. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.